YouTube was good. It's your boy Paul Harris, aka the Crazy Uncle. Hey, guess what? If this your first time tuning in, go ahead, hit the doggone subscribe button, hit the notification bell every time I post up new content. Well, people, you know I'm not gonna sit up here and say that. Well, actually, I am gonna say it. I think, or at least after what I saw earlier today, and it's always good to get up, wash your face, brush your teeth, check your emails, right? Go on social media because you already know that social media, so-called social media, that which y'all think is actually really been around since the internet, right? Uh, it's always gonna give me like one or four, right? So I'm on the wonderful world of YouTube, and you know, I actually, I'll come out and say, I've been watching a whole lot of these reaction videos, especially the the TikTok, reaction videos, and then, so then, I was watching one, and then, they was actually really talking about um, the Maui Fire, and what actually really caused it, but actually I saw that on Good Morning America this morning, where they were like, "Oh well, this is the culprit. What actually really caused the fire, right?" But but then again, I'm looking at that and I'm just like, okay, you can have a blown transformer at any time, and wildfires don't start like that, right? I mean, because and the only reason why I say this is because people have ran into transformers. Transformers have been blown. Just like it's just like for the one that was on that was then called Fort Hood. I swear, every time a okay, here he is. What's good?
How's it going, man?
Just sitting up here, just warming up the crowd a little bit. Um, I was. Did you watch the Superman clip that I sent you?
I, di- I didn't get a chance to watch it. I saw them in text. I didn't get a chance to watch that one yet.
Okay. So, but you did. I showed you like the little piece about how Oprah Winfrey is buying up all of this land over there in Maui. She didn't bought it
Yeah.
up already, or yeah, she didn't. She been buying up like crazy land, as of late. And so
Oh yeah.
so basically, so when I sent you the Superman clip, uh, that was Superman the movie. That was like the very first one. That was with Christopher Reeve in it. And so Lex Luthor, right? Uh, he bought up all of the all he but let's just say he bought up the other half of California. All of the desert stuff, right? And then he was actually really telling Superman what the fuck he was gonna do because he hijacked um, those two test missiles that the United States government had just invented and all that kind of stuff. So they actually really wanted to do hey look, you create something, you got to test it out. So he went in there and caused a diversion, and then he actually really set the grid coordinates different from where they were originally. So I actually really took that into what they say that actually really caused the wildfire which was on, because they're actually like now saying that it was because of a blown transformer, right? And so I'm looking at that, right? I'm like, okay, so since when does a blown transformer do that much damage, right? At best, at best, people is going to be without power, right? But in my 50 years of living, I've never known for a blown transformer that cause a Wi-Fi to do that much damn damage. So
Yeah, it was a legitimate firestorm.
yeah,
And then I found out this morning, which I found this to be wild. The way they were describing it, it was like mainstream news, but they were just saying, "Oh wow, what an anomaly." Uh, the chief of police of that jurisdiction
uh,
was transferred from Las Vegas, and he was the chief of police during the Las Vegas massacre, that shooting, that massive shooting. I don't like that country music festival. It was like
are
I
you
don't know how
talking
many
about
people
the
died.
one where? Are you talking about the one where the guy they was all outside and I think OJ he had just got out of prison. Is that the one you talking about?
Yeah, it was like a country music festival. He bust a
Yeah,
window out of
yeah,
the Mirage and he shot like 78 people. And
yeah.
people were like, it was bizarre. They said it was like a gun deal gone wrong or some shit like this. But
Uh,
he just happens to be the chief of police there. And then I guess they moved, I don't know, he got hired someplace else. And where he happened to get hired was he's the chief of police on this island in Hawaii, which I thought was interesting. And you look into this island, it's very interesting. It's the same island that during COVID, where they had like this false alarm, quote unquote, that a nuclear missile was on the way from North Korea or submarine nuke or something like this. And they said, oh no, it was just a glitch in the system. The same system that didn't go off when all these people were burning to death and jumping in the goddamn ocean. Like they're not. It's just bizarre to me, man. There's a lot of anomalies. When I see stuff like this, I don't like to always jump to a conclusion, but it seems like, you know, pretty fishy to me, man. I don't
I mean,
know. Something bizarre about it.
yeah. I mean, because it's just like what I said, right? Transformers have blown before, right? And what? No, you didn't hear nothing about no wildfire or anything like that. Hell, just like hell, the one that was on what was called Fort Hood. I swear, every time that it rained, that motherfucker would we lose fucking power,
Right.
right? So
Just blow up.
yeah, but the thing about it though, I'm just looking at some fact, okay, that considering that Hawaii, as far as like geographical terms, it's an island, right? So I'm just like, okay, so I mean, I don't know what the average temperature is year round for Hawaii, but me personally, because like I said, I saw it on Good Morning America this morning, and so they'll say, "Oh, well, this caused it." So I'm just like, "Yeah, okay." So, and
Yeah.
then with that, then you got the hurricanes, and then we talked about this on the phone. So I'm just looking at this. Okay, so let's just say for shits and giggles that okay that the transformer caused the wildfire, right? And then with hurricane season, right? Well, we already know about. I know people like me and you. We already know about HARP and what it does, and and what it's actually really capable of doing. I mean, because to my understanding, not only does it actually really can have like real dangerous effects to the weather, that this shit can actually really cause earthquakes and tsunamis and all that kind of stuff. So, so again, I'm looking at all of this and I'm like, okay, because anybody else is just looking at it like, damn, they really catching it. It's hurricane season, and then this happens. So, but then again, though, here's something else too what I don't understand, right? Yes, if you give fire enough oxygen, right, that it'll get big. But at the same time, right, if you fan it too hard, it's gonna go out. You know, so again, I'm just like, okay, what gives here? I mean, again, I don't know. I mean, hurricanes, you know, they rate the weather people. They rate hurricanes pretty much the same way that they um, rate tornadoes, right? The stronger the wind, the higher up it's gonna go up the ladder, right? I mean, but even then, I've seen tornadoes hit power lines, and yes, you see the spark, right? But then the wind is going so doggone fast, right? That hell, even if it was going to start a fire, right? The strong winds would take care of that quick, fast, in a motherfucking hurry. I mean, because my thing is this: everything in nature, I don't give a fuck what it is, right? It starts off small and then eventually it grows. Don't no damn wildfire just start off humongous, right? And so I'm just so again, I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, is it did the transformer blew right as these hurricane winds was coming in, or did the transformer blew and then yes, it started a fire and then eventually it just grew, right? I mean, but even then, though, with hurricanes, right? Yes, you got the strong winds and rain. So either way it goes, I'm calling bullshit. It's more to it than what the fuck they saying. You know.
Yeah, I would agree. It seems interesting. Yeah, I was hearing somebody say like direct energy weapons and like what you were talking about with HARP and things
Yeah.
like this. It's sometimes you don't see the motive, which is really interesting. I just find it hard to believe, and it just convenient that these planes could have take off to to dump sufficient
Uh huh.
substances or even ocean water onto the flames and do what they do during typical wildfires because the winds were so intense. But there's quite a few military assets right there within, I don't know, probably nautically 20 minutes, like bases. And it just seemed like it just kept going. And I don't know. Something
Yeah. I
seems
mean,
fishy
because
to me about it.
to my understanding, unless they didn't move, it's some air defense that's over there.
Oh, yeah, Schofield Barracks. And then you got Pearl Harbor. I mean, it's right there.
Yeah. So, so again, I'm looking at all of this, and then I'm looking at how Oprah is buying up all of this land over there, right?
Same island that Obama supposedly came from.
Yeah.
Your
So,
great your great 43rd, excuse me, 44th.
yeah.
Uh,
So
uh,
again, I'm looking at all of this, and I'm just like, okay, okay, something. What's really going on here? I mean, because I look at it like this, right? If you actually really do a timetable on it, right? Which way, which is faster, right? Do you repair what's already there, or do you just start anew? You know,
or sell.
So I'm just, because because I can look at it like this, right? Okay, say like if let's just say for shits and giggles, okay, tornado come here, and tear up all this shit here, right? And then I could be like, okay, well, what what's the better route? Repair this, or just go somewhere and just build up something new. You know,
Yep.
as far as like as far as like money goes, right? So because let's look at this let's like rewind the clock back a little bit. Look how long it took for the people in Louisiana to recover after Hurricane Katrina. Because they really didn't have nowhere else to go. They did. Some people stayed, and then some people they just said, you know what, enough of this. I'm gonna go live elsewhere. That way, because they look at it like this, right? Listen, I'm gonna be out of pocket regardless, but I feel like okay, well, if I stay, I'm gonna be more out of pocket if I just say, you know what, the hell with this. I'm gonna, you know, pack up, move up, and move somewhere else. So, to like say, depending on the situation, it's probably 50-50. You know, depending on the individual and whatever job they may have had versus, you know, somebody that's actually really got the money and it's actually really not gonna bother them none. Because think about it for a minute, right? If indeed that the state of Hawaii comes to Oprah and say, "Hey, look, let's make this deal or whatever," right? And then you hear this, you moving all these people from where they were to somewhere that somebody else didn't bought. Now you actually really got to sit there and pay them, you know, because in a sense, it's kind of like Fort Hood, right? That is actually like really somebody's property.
Yeah.
And then and so here it is, the United States government is paying those people X amount of dollars to be on that land.
Yeah, I was wild when I learned that. I was like,
Yeah.
they got some crazy lease. They see cows roaming and everything else.
Yeah. Because and then again you look at that and you're like, okay, well damn. Whatever happened to what's that? Eminent domain? Whatever happened to that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, it's almost like okay, it's I guess it's like okay, well, whatever it is convenient for the United States government and the person or people that they actually really got to deal with as far as like land goes, you know. But then again, hell, if you like, if but then again, if you actually really want to look at it from that aspect, then well, shit, hell, let's go back even farther than that. Look at what this country has done to the so-called Native American.
Yeah.
So again, it's just like okay, all right. So again, it's like it becomes more of a convenience thing between the two parties, and then besides the government just going there and say, "Hey, eminent domain, y'all can't say shit about it," right? So again, this whole thing, and if anybody that's actually really watching this, what the news media is actually really saying, if ain't nobody sitting up here saying, you know what, I'm gonna call bullshit on that, then they fucking crazy. Because you can't just sit up here and say, oh, but that was natural disaster. No, the fuck it wasn't. How we
Yeah.
gotta look at
They also got
people.
tropical storms and hurricanes off the coast of California, which is like bizarre. Usually, of course, it'll be in the Gulf or on the Atlantic side, but coming up on the Pacific, and it's like, oh, damn, really? I think they got a hurricane warning in California right now. What the fuck?
Yeah, again, I really think sometimes they'll cut that some bitch on, right? And then they forget that it's on, right? And then somebody got to tell, hey, go cut that motherfucker off, right? We didn't did enough. We've done enough damage, right? So hey, look, go cut it off or whatever. So, but then again, just like saying, with all this stuff that I see on YouTube and that what I actually really Google up, you know, I mean, there's so many of these goddamn harp stations around the world, till it's ridiculous. So, for the most part, you the average person can look at it and be like, okay, well, is this actually like really the weather, or is this something that these bastards came up with? You know. So again, I'm just like, what gives here, right? I mean, because who else, who else knew about Oprah Winfrey buying up all that land?
Mm.
I mean,
They should get like 1,000+ acres. I mean, I don't know how big that island is, but that's a fuck ton of land.
yeah. So
I mean, it's insane.
yeah, so I'm just like, so well, I'm just saying, when it's all said and done, somebody's gonna be a rich motherfucker,
Yeah,
plain and simple, right? And so I'm just like, okay, as far as like the how the agenda goes. I mean, because here it is. Everybody knows that Oprah Winfrey is one of the richest people in the world. A matter of fact, I'm pretty sure she is the richest woman in the world, right? So so I'm looking at it like this, right? Why buy up all this damn land? What you gonna do with it? And it's almost like, okay, that like the shit that what she did over in Africa. I'm like building a school over there. How come you couldn't do this shit here? Or was it that you was instructed or was it that you was instructed to build that school over there in one of those countries in Africa? You know? So, so again, I'm just like, okay, yeah, you got this money, right? But are you actually like really able to do what the fuck you actually really want to do with this money, right? And so I don't know. I'm just gonna sit back and just wait and see what the fuck happens. You
yeah,
know.
no kidding. And her connections. I mean, the interview. I don't understand. She's been like legacy media and her show back in the day, but in recent times, she doesn't do that at all. She just does major blockbuster sit down interviews. She doesn't have a show. She
Yeah.
just major interviews with very influential individuals, and it paints a certain narrative. And yeah, she's an interesting case because um, she's been connected with a lot of people out of Chicago and whole Harpo Studios. It's interesting, and the connection with Hawaii and Barry, the stuff that came out about good old Barry, Barack Obama,
Yeah.
very interesting. It's been coming out, came out right at the same time. So I don't know.
Yeah.
From
So
Hawaii to, you have to understand, supposedly from Hawaii to running out of Chicago when it comes to Barack Obama, and Oprah from Chicago now out of Hawaii. Just very, very interesting. And they have a very cozy relationship as well.
yeah. So then like I said, I'm looking at this and then like I said, and then I looked at some of the stuff what you were talking about the Black Rock company or whatever.
They
So
own everything.
yeah, so it's, so again, it also so again it I mean again this is stuff that you and I already know, everybody looks at, okay, well, hey, I want to be president of the United States. Well, and with in all actuality, right, we already know that the president really don't do shit. I mean, hell, somebody's telling his ass what to do.
Oh yeah.
So so again, you almost got to be like, okay, all right, look, it's your turn to be the fuck boy, right? So, you know, and I mean, because again, listen, and we talked about this. Being president of the United States is no different than an NCO and a runner either pulling CQ or staff duty, right? Because the motherfucker they go like, hey, look, this is what needs to be done. And then if you got anybody that's gonna be pulling extra duty, tell them to do this, this, and this, and this, and this, right? And so it's always these motherfuckers, whether it's the same agenda or not, whoever that's in office at that particular time, it's gonna be like, okay, all right, yeah, we wanted you in office because we feel like the scenario that we want to play out, you're the best person for it. So here are your orders. You got X amount of years to do this. Execute. Plain and simple. You know? So, but in either case, right, you just have to wait and see what happens on that.
Yeah. Okay.
So Bill Gates, I swear this motherfucker stay in the damn news. I don't know who works between him, Trump, and who that other guy, Zuckerberg, right?
Oh yeah.
Uh, so apparently he didn't came. Apparently he didn't came out with some motherfucking mosquitoes, right? And again, I'm looking at this. I mean, because just like I say, I was watching another guy on YouTube, and he was talking about this, and he actually made a whole live broadcast about it. So I just went in there and I just typed up. I was like, "Oh, this is nothing new. This ain't nothing but Lyme disease all over again."
Yeah.
So and so
Yeah. They released some of them down here in Florida.
yeah. I mean, because to be perfectly honest, I really don't know what the fuck is going on because here in Little Rock, Arkansas, right? I mean, I read the fact this summer really ain't been no hotter than any other summer before. But for whatever strange reason, it's a lot of people that's been bothered with these gnats, right? Whether it's outside or whether it's in the house, because like in certain parts of the house here where they just like it's like they just gather up right there. And then like if you get in a space or whatever, then you get attacked by gnats or whatever. Now, great the fact I really don't know if gnats bite, but it's just for the simple fact that hey, look, all of a sudden this shit happens, right? And then so like I said, uh, my wife she goes to work, whatever, and then she asks some of her coworkers, right? Are you being bothered with gnats? And damn near everybody that my wife works with said, yeah, this is, this is a problem. Now I don't know if I don't know if Bill Gates had anything to actually really do with that, but I'm just like, okay, if this motherfucker didn't modify mosquitoes, right? There ain't no telling else what else he didn't modify, right? So again, it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff that you actually really got to look at and be like, uh, oh, okay, we gotta, oh man. So he's actually really agreeing with us on this. So, but
Yeah,
what
the
you
big
think?
thing, like he put so much money into vaccines, and what better? I mean, people don't want to line up at CVS. What better to do, than start weaponizing mosquitoes that are going to get into your bloodstream, start causing injuries, and then the, I know what he said. It was they tried to they tried to organize these mosquitoes in order to kill problematic mosquitoes, but then by proxy there was unintended consequences, which of course is what they're going to say, unless they just created them in the first place. Just like down in Florida, we got something called love bugs. There's like love bug season. You drive and they're everywhere. They just smash your car up. It's just they look terrible. And these things were created literally in a lab in the University of Florida. They did not exist. There was like splicing, and they literally genetically created these things, and that it become an issue, and it affects the ecosystem. So like what you're talking about, gnats or no-see-ums biting people or affecting the climate. I don't know, man. I don't put anything past anybody, because if you want to look at one of the biggest money grabs of all time, it was the vaccines during COVID-19, and this
Oh yeah,
was a biological attack, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people think that now. They said, no, not from a lab, not from a lab, not from a lab. Yes, it was from a lab, and it
hmm,
disrupted the world. And listen, uh, it affected a lot of businesses in a bad way,
yeah,
with shutdowns and everything else. But it did two other things. It showed it was a great training tool for the global elite to say, okay, this is the part of the majority of the countries that will fall in line, and you have to give it a test to see where you're at in control. Secondarily, they force people to take vaccinations, which is like,
uh,
how far would they go? And at a certain point, it was like politicized. If you
yeah,
didn't take the vaccine, you were this. If you did, you were that. And Bill Gates has got his money. He's known for Microsoft, but with the Bill Gates Foundation and what he does, not to
mhm,
mention how many times he was on Epstein Island, and his wife, who divorced him for when all this stuff came out about the discovery of him on Epstein Island,
yeah,
divorced him and became the richest woman in the world, literally overnight through the divorce.
hmm,
People just, don't talk about that. The same Bill Gates who was fucking up so bad at Epstein Island that his wife divorced him and became the richest woman
yeah,
on the
yeah,
planet.
yeah. I remember
I
that.
mean, if you think it's just some little old nerd up there in Seattle, good luck with that. That dude's up to some shit.
Yeah, I mean, but but you would almost
I
think,
think he was
okay,
in Epstein Island over 20 times.
oh, what an island with what his name Epstein had or
Yeah, Jeffrey Epstein out there
mhm,
on the island
yeah,
over 20 times, and all the stuff came out when they arrested this guy, and right around then his wife divorced him because she knows what's going on. And then they said they had an arrangement where he could leave one time a year. That's great if you want to go to the Bunny Ranch in Vegas, or hell, hire some escorts, go to the strip club, whatever you're doing. You're a billionaire, one of the richest men in the world. But when you're going to Epstein Island, now we have a different sort of dynamic going on, and it leads into what's really going on with corporate manipulation, and who
uh,
knows what he's been up to. So I don't know. I think he has some very nefarious dealings, and he's not as public as he should be for somebody in his capacity. And you start to realize that, don't get fooled by the little sweater and glasses. This guy's up to something.
yeah. I mean, but hit my thing is like with all that stuff that's going on, uh, you got to be like, cause I look at it like this, right? With all of this stuff that uh that these motherfuckers have done, right? to actually like really to try to control the population. Whether it's with homosexuality, right, or motherfucking uh, the motherfucking robots, that actually really look and feel like actual human beings, right? But and then you actually got to really stop and look at uh, all the other stuff that anything and everything that these that the higher ups can do to actually really slow down the the birth rate, if you will, right? I go on, I go on and on and on and on and on. Because here it is that, and I hate to sound like old broke ass record, but I'm 50 years old, and so I know how men operated back in the 70s, right? So it was like, okay, the man worked and the mama stayed home with the kids, right? And then if you went to school and you did something you had no business doing, you knew that you finna get an ass whooping once you come home, right? And so here it is that we can't raise our kids the way that we need to raise them, right? And then on top of that, you know, it used to be a time where that okay, where you could uh if your child or children come up to you, right? And that's a good question there. So if your child or children come up to you and be like, well, mom or daddy, can I do such when I grow up? And then you as the parent or them as the parent would say, well, baby, you can be anything that you want to be, right? And then that's just as far as it went. You try saying that shit now, right? Then depending on your child and what the fuck they watch on TV every day, they actually really gonna take that shit literally.
Yeah.
So cause think about it for a minute. You grow up as a put like this. Growing up as a little boy in the 70s, right? As far it's like hell. It was different 10 years later, right? And then here it is 50 years later, right? I'm just like, damn, why even bother have kids? Because if you really, great the fact you don't want to like just hover your child and say, hey, dog, you better do this, you better do that, you better do the other. You can't do that. But what's the fucking say is gonna happen to them once you either drop them off at school or put them on the school bus, right? It's people may say, hey, it was dangerous. It was dangerous back then, but I'm just like, what we had to go through or what I had to go through is nothing like what these kids go through now. My granddaughter just started the first grade, right? And she brought home some homework, right? And I looked at that shit, I'm like, damn. It actually really made my brain smoke for a little bit. It made me think that no, I bullshit you not, because I'm looking at this, I'm like, damn, they teaching y'all this in first grade now, and so I'm
Yeah.
just, you know, it make me think, damn, maybe I need to carry my ass back to school, So it's, and like I say, man, we talk about this all the time. This shit is so motherfucking fucked up right now, to it's goddamn ridiculous. You know, anywhere you try to turn, it's always gonna be something there for you, right?
Yeah.
And then like I said, you got to deal with it the best way you can and know how. So, um, I you know, I I'm just looking at this, and then what happened just a couple of days ago, right? It was the 52nd anniversary of what President Nixon did back in 1971,
Huh.
right? I mean, because he, I know, I got you, but but my whole deal is this, right? So President Nixon took away that back in 1971, and then not too long after that, they came up with the petrodollar, where that it was almost like, okay, well, it took so many ounces of gold to make up $1. Then that's they just say, okay, well, fuck it, we ain't gonna do that with gold no more, so we're gonna do it with the oil, right? And then what happened 20 years later? The Gulf War happens, you know, and so again, that's why I always say, hey, look, go back and look at history, because the Lyme disease, just like I said, I want to say that was what, right after World War II, after Germany had surrendered, and then they went over there and got all them damn German scientists and shit, and they just actually really started creating shit. And speaking of which, did you hear? Did you hear about this so-called breakthrough? Yes, this guy, he needed a kidney, right? And basically, what they did, they took a kidney from a pig and they modified it, and then they gave it to the guy that actually really needed a kidney. Did you hear about that, Zach? Zach, this motherfucker went to this guy don't went to sleep. Hold on, let me call him. Let me call him. But yeah, Tyra, I hear what you're saying about the whole money deal, and then it's just for the simple fact that people actually really thinking that doggone that the value of the dollar is going downhill. It never had any damn value. Where's this guy's phone number at? So, 'cause this guy is flew the coop for whatever reason. Zach, wake up, man. Hold on. Yeah, he out of there. So, but in either case, we going yeah. So, but in either case, uh, yeah, I know, man. So I'm calling him up right now. And so, but I'm just right now. I'm just looking. I'm looking at all of this stuff here, and then just like the stuff that with the guy getting the doggone uh with the guy with the pig and the doggone. I mean, me personally, I know. Oh yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You know, that's what I'm saying, right? Yeah, and so just like I said, but but you gotta look at it like this too. Back in, I mean, because FDR, he did it back in 33, right? And then that was just like uh years, because the Great Depression happened in 29, right? Then this happens, then that happened, then World War, yeah, that was like because World War One had happened, and then yeah, what happened to you?
I don't know. It's just my mic's not working.
Oh,
I can hear everything you're saying.
but okay,
That's a disconnect now. I'm a connector.
okay, well go ahead and then try to come back on.
The hell? All right.
Yeah. So so in our case, I'm looking at this stuff like, okay, they say that war brings in money. Well, if you actually really go back and look at World War One, right? That was what 1914. I forget what year that was, but then again, you also got to stop and think about it too, right? When all that shit was going down, I want to say Woodrow Wilson was president, and this is when the Federal Reserve was actually really coming back into play, right? Then the war happens, right? And so, I mean, unless I'm looking at this wrong, unless I'm looking at this wrong, somebody somewhere lied. What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. I think I get like sometimes when I get a call coming in, it disconnects my mic or some shit in the Bluetooth.
Oh,
Something.
okay.
Anyways,
So no, basically what I was just saying, because I was telling you about, we were talking about, okay, what President Nixon did back in '71, where he
yeah,
took the gold standard act. Then it went from gold to the petrodollar, right? But what a lot of people may not know is that FDR did it back in 33, right? And then the years before that, a few years earlier, you had the Great Depression, right? Where everything the bottom just fell out of every goddamn thing. And so I'm just looking at shit back. If what they say is true, that war brings in money, right? Well, World War One had happened. So uh I'm just trying to figure out, okay, so where the fuck did all of the money go to? Yeah, 1914 to 1918. That was World War One. So I'm just
that's what
like,
also got that's what also got Gaddafi killed out of Libya. Out of nowhere, out of nowhere, they assassinate this dude in a coup when they're coming up with ISIS. He states that they have incredible oil reserves and they don't want to trade it in the petrodollar. They want to trade it in a gold backed currency out of Libya. Like they're like it's naturally rich resource. We have the gold to back it. We have everything. Well, that didn't work out too well for him, and they got him out of there real quick. And this is a guy who had nuclear weapons, who denuclearized, who was working with the West, who wanted to be a part of the club. And as soon as he started saying, "Hey, there's no reason why we should have to trade this in the petrodollar," see how that worked out. You better wear a helmet. You start talking.
uh-huh. So yeah, damn. Yeah, so again, um, I'm looking at this and I'm just going back. I'm looking at history, or at least that what was told to us, right? And I can't help but to think that, look, somebody lying somewhere about some money. You know, it just gotta be one of those things that, hey, it is. Something is. It's all like, okay, somebody somewhere is lying about something.
Oh,
You know,
yeah,
I'm
no
just
kidding.
like I'm just like, okay, yeah, the war just ended, but then here it is, not even not even what, maybe 20 years later, World War II happened. But then again, you know what they always say, the feud may be over, but the fussing ain't, you know. And so they're like saying, then 1941 happens, right? And then here it is, we back into it, again. And then after that, it was every 10 years, because you look at 41, you look what happened in 41, then Korea, you know, technically the Korean War started in 51, Vietnam in 71, no, Vietnam in 61, then I want to say it was Panama, then Grenada, then doggone Desert Storm, then
Bosnia.
yeah, then 9/11 happens. And so they do this, right? You know what, they claim that it generates money, right? I mean, but then again, I'm also looking at, okay, well, damn, if you took away the Gold Standard Act, you you went with the petrodollar, and apparently that fell through, right? So I'm just like, now all of a sudden, these motherfuckers, they want everything to go digital, right? And then motherfuckers, volunteering to get that chip put in their hand, right? And so all what the fuck you gotta do is just put your hand over the whatever the fuck it is, and then you pay for whatever the fuck you gotta pay for. So I'm just looking at it like this. So what happens now? Motherfuckers, instead of motherfuckers coming up to you, all right, motherfucker, give me your money. So I guess they're gonna cut your hand off now.
Yeah,
so
for real.
so I'm just like, come on now. I mean, it's I mean, this shit is, I swear, as time progresses, this shit gets weirder, weirder, and weirder. It's almost like, remember that one scene in Demolition Man when they thawed out Wesley Snipes, right? And
Huh.
he didn't kick everybody's ass, right? So he went and snatched the guy's eyeball out and put it up against the scanner, and that's how he got out.
Jesus.
So I'm just like, okay, so my thing is, okay, yeah, you want to go around and you want to chip everybody. But then again, you almost got to ask yourself, is that really a good idea? I mean, just think about it for a minute. We've seen it happen too many times in the Mission Impossible movies. Hell, even in the movie Drop Zone, where them motherfuckers, they had to get into somewhere. And so basically what the motherfucker, they put some spray on it, and then you saw the person's actual handprint. So basically what they did, they took something, put it over their hand, where that it would register the handprint that was already there, and then they was actually really able to go in and take whatever the fuck they was wanting to take. So so again, I'm just like, okay, yeah, y'all, this is what the fuck you want, right? But is that really a good idea? Considering, you know, how, because the average motherfucker is always gonna beat the system. I don't give a fuck how advanced you make it. You know, it's always gonna be somebody that's gonna beat the system. It's no different than what these motherfuckers do with the goddamn food stamps. They sit up here, they get all these goddamn babies, right? And they already know that the state is gonna take care of them, right? But at the same time, look at how the kids look.
Yeah,
They look
no
like
kidding.
dust balls. I'm,
It's
I'm just putting it out there. You
it's
always,
true.
it's somebody always gonna find a way to beat the damn system.
Yep.
Just like I saw that one shit where this guy. he went and got a whole bunch of credit cards, and he did something. He scratched the original numbers off of that, and then he put in some new numbers, did some shit on his computer, and then he went and just started just buying up shit. Now I don't know how
Yeah,
true that is.
yeah, I saw that. Like where
Yeah,
they're using scanners and they're stealing people's identities, like their credit identity, and then selling it online, like on the dark web. And then he was taking like alcohol, scrubbing off the actual numbers
yeah,
and placing the new numbers on it, scanning it on his magnetic strip off the numbers that he programmed that he bought offline. And this shit's happening all over the place. And then to the consumer who gets, identity, who goes through identity theft, generally speaking, the credit card company will back them, refund them. But these motherfuckers are sitting out here running around causing chaos. And it's just a vicious cycle, whether it's the immigration issue with human trafficking. I always looked at human trafficking as sex stuff or drug running or stuff like this, but now it's more profitable to traffic humans, just literally to physically get them into the United States than it is to sell drugs. And hey, listen, like he said, people are always going to find a way to get around that system, and it's surprising what you see. Submarines coming over with cocaine, it just never ends, and it's bizarre. And I think I really do think the planet's going through a big change, and
yeah,
it, sometimes it terrifies me in the sense of, man, where's this going? Things need to change. But at the same time, I'm like, man, I need to stick around to see where this thing is going because it gets more and more bizarre every single day.
yeah. And and then I'm looking at the simple fact that here it is. You like I said, you brought up the whole human trafficking thing, and then and I have to go back to what I said about the guy that took that they gave the damn pig kidney to, right? And and so here it is, right? Human trafficking, right? We already know that's a big deal. And then people that come up missing, right? And then God knows what they're gonna do with those people. But I don't know, and I'm pretty sure it's like this in the state of. I know it's like this in the state of Arkansas, and I'm pretty sure it's like this in every state in the United States. On my driver's license, right? It got all my information on there, but it actually really says organ donor on it, meaning if I die, right, then I done gave these people permission to go in and take whatever organs they want and pass them off, right? So I'm looking at this and I'm just like, okay, but you gonna get this guy a kidney that either came from a pig or you took you took sperm or whatever the fuck from a human being and mixed it with a pig, and then here's the end result.
Hmm.
You know, and so I'm just like, come on now, and but they want to say that they making medical breakthroughs all the time. Remember when they used to the STEM research when they was taking what they it was something that they was doing with the embryos, right? And then they was doing it, and then they was trying to take it where that if you was paralyzed, and they took it from something else, and then then they stopped that shit. So I'm just like, okay, again, just like I said, I don't know if every state does the whole organ donor thing, but I'm just like,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it had to be
yeah,
every like just on your driver's license.
yeah, so I'm just like, they always holler about so many people die each year from this, and this, and this. or whatever. And so I'm just like, okay, I get it. Everybody ain't always healthy. You got shit wrong with you. But I'm just like, okay, before Rockefeller, before he died, how many hearts did he have before he just said fuck it? I mean,
It's
he
same
had
thing with
heart
Dick Cheney.
after heart transplant after motherfucking heart transplant.
Dick Cheney too.
so so again, I'm just like these people. It's almost like, well, fuck everybody else. We got to get to this guy or this woman.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of which, where the hell is Hillary Clinton?
Yeah, no kidding. Where's that corpse? Where is that corpse?
Exactly. So
They're all gone. Anyways, I got to get out of here in a couple minutes. I'll let you keep
yeah,
the
man.
torch going.
I really didn't.
But where's Obama? Where's Clinton? Where's Bush for that matter? These people just all of a sudden disappear.
Yeah.
Give me a break, man. The only person sticking around is Trump, and you see what you do when you stick around. You deal with some knuckleheads in Georgia with a RICO case. I mean, really?
Yeah.
With a
I mean,
RICO case?
it's almost like
The
they
guy
just.
who invented, they got Giuliani, the guy who invented the RICO clause or law, whatever you want to call it,
Uh-huh.
on RICO charges. It's like upside down world, what the hell it is.
Yeah. And so my thing, I'm gonna say this one last thing, and then we'll get out of here. Uh, I was watching a video, and so basically they was um they was they was pretty much they was comparing um what Al Gore did versus what Trump is doing now. You know, and so basically they would say, hey, look, Al Gore did this exact same shit because a lot of people, the absent, what they call them, the damn when you're overseas and you vote, and so you cast your vote, and then it's got to come back here, right? And
Right.
so, basically, and I remember that because I was over in Germany during that time frame. I mean, I regret the fact I didn't vote, right? But I knew a lot of people did, and a lot of their votes didn't get counted.
Yeah, I heard that.
You
There's
know,
a lot of fishiness with like guys overseas because believe it or not, like a ton of veterans obviously deployed overseas, and they were saying that they're like it was ridiculous. Like there was like a certain batch of votes that was like 25,000 votes, and every single one of them was a Democratic vote, and they're like, get the fuck out of here! Like people,
yeah,
they had all that paperwork filled out, ready to ship in, or like Trump said on that tape, find me 11,000 votes.
yeah. So I'm just like, hey, he gave us a thumbs up. He gave us a hey, good show. So, but uh, but I just felt like that. Uh-oh, we got somebody that came in late on this. She said Katie buy up the land in Africa. Oh, okay. So yeah, all right. So and then they just said this too. You know. Okay. All right. We got you. We hear you. You know.
Hey, it's possible, but
Yeah.
hey, you have to tune in next time, or you
Yeah.
can keep it
Yeah.
going with
So
them.
yeah. I mean, hey. I'm glad that you come in, but you. Yeah. I mean, we about to close up shop. So speaking of next time, when you actually really want to try to get together again, and then uh if it's something that you want us to talk about, hey, then look, let us know, and then we'll actually like really, put it in. We'll actually really put it in the next show. So when are you at? Because what is this Thursday? So tomorrow is Friday. Um, so When is
I'm
the
gonna
next?
go. I'm gonna go tomorrow or Monday. Either one.
Okay, all right. So I mean, so yeah, we come back tomorrow, and then Major Son. I'm not even gonna doggone.
Just call
I'm
you
not even
Major.
going. I am not finna.
Major son Yi on.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he said volcanoes are under all of us. So again, I give y'all
Oh
this.
yeah,
I give y'all
especially at Yellowstone.
yeah, Yellowstone. I'm looking at that and like, and if that motherfucker blows, then hey,
That's it.
you know, you go ahead and cancel Christmas on that. So, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a hell of a lot more stuff because it's still early in the day today. So I'm looking at ain't no telling what's gonna happen between now and tomorrow morning. Um, they're like say, man, look, if you good for tomorrow, let me know. We come back on here, we can talk some more stuff. Uh, it's like if we do it tomorrow, let's just call it Freestyle Friday, meaning that
Beautiful.
meaning that whatever the fuck it is that we want to talk about, we can just talk about it, and then we'll just just ride that wave, if you will.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, man. I'll talk to you.
All right, man. Peace.
Yep. All right, y'all. Hey, look, another show. Hey, make sure that you tune in tomorrow. Subscribe to the channel. Matter of fact, if you want to actually really go back and look at some of the previous stuff that I've done, hey, by all means do so. Uh, just like I say, I'm pretty much out of ammunition for this particular show. So guess what? I tell you like I tell everybody else, right? Tell your mama, tell your daddy, tell Big Dan, tell Big Bertha, your uncle, your auntie, your grandma, your papa, motherfucker next door, cross street, round the corner, Paulus Harris, aka the crazy uncle. Hey, look, if you got a channel, tune in, subscribe, and let everybody else know. And I'm gonna holler at y'all.